Frostwoods and Queensway is selling minivan and is Public Works.
Profit. All right, we'll call the meeting to order at 6:30. And if you can just note the roll. Item 3 is approval of minutes from the September 3rd meeting. Second.
Second.
Any corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes have been approved. Appearances, there's nobody in the room, you're here for an item. There's nobody on Zoom, so we'll close the appearance section. There is no unfinished business. For new business, our first item is 2026 road reconstruction design update. And Greg is here from MSA to walk us through.
Yep.
Dan, if you wanna maybe give an overview and then Greg with
So we don't have council approval yet for the 2026 budget for road reconstruction. But Mayor Moore did include it in her budget, and it's made its way through the committee of the whole. And it's most likely going to pass, so we are proceeding as if it's going to be approved. So I asked Greg and Nick to come in tonight to do the design update for the Public Works Committee. They'll do that, and then I do have scheduled our second public information meeting for November 5th, which is our next Public Works Committee meeting to be held at the community center. We'll most likely get people attending that meeting who are going to receive assessments from Arrowhead. Usually those meetings are not well attended, and this one's pretty straightforward. So I'm probably expecting somewhere around 10 to 14 residences represented at that meeting, and those will probably be the ones that are going to receive assessments. So after tonight, we'll send out letters inviting the residents to the public information meeting. I am starting work on the preliminary assessment report, which I'm probably going to give the first version at the December meetings. And then the final report in 2026, but all that's tentative for right now. But in essence, all these steps that we're following now are steps we would typically follow for a road reconstruction project that we have assessments for. So I guess that said, Greg and Nick, if you guys just wanna give a general summary of where you're at and.
Want me to stay here, stand up?
Whatever's most comfortable for you.
Yeah, there's room at the table.
It
if you
might be
wanna-
nice to come to the table just for the recording.
Yeah, the camera was
That's
zooming
fine.
on you.
Or I can stand
Is
here
there
too.
any visuals that need to be?
No,
Okay.
For those who don't know me, Greg Baruki with MSA. I've been working here for how many years have you been here, Dan?
14 and a half.
So more like 16 and a half, 15 and a half,
You were
something
here
like that.
before I got here, yeah.
Yep, Rich, and then, can't remember who it was between Rich and then Rich again.
Gary
and,
Weiner,
Uh,
Rick Schmalley.
I know Rick, can't remember his name. Anyway, he took over for, it doesn't really matter, but anyway, been here a long time. You haven't seen me in a while. We've had some road jobs, that we've been doing and working on, but this one just sort of took the halt, so that's why you haven't seen me. But I also brought Nick here, and I wanted you to meet Nick. Nick is, I'll let you explain what you've got for education and why you're here.
So Nick Mankey, senior project engineer for MSA. My background, I have a master's and PhD in civil engineering, emphasis in geomaterials, particularly in asphalt materials. So that's why they bring me in on a lot of the asphalt pavement mix designs to try and get you better, lower maintenance, longer lasting, but still economical pavements.
So Nick will be heavily, since it's mainly an asphalt job, Nick will be part of that whole getting going with the contractor, making sure the mix design's right, stuff like that. So that's why I brought him. He's also a really good engineer. He's on my team and I'm really happy about it, so
All right.
makes my life a lot better. But, I got a couple questions for you as we go on, but you know, this is our working copy of what we had from 2023, 2024. I assume you want to keep that date on there?
If you want to expand it from 23 to 26, maybe?
Okay, can do. And I mean, there's not a whole lot in it. Most of it is resurface. There is a section that is new curb and gutter. We have some sections that are water main replacement and spot improvements for sanitary sewer. I brought this, if anybody's really interested, it's pretty boring, but this is our bid list of how many items we are going to actually bid from the contractor to keep all the assessments and everything squared away road by road, so it's all fair. We do have four alternates.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one is all curb replacement, because we have a lot of spot repair. A lot of times we get a very high price for those spot repairs, and we're gonna see what a full reconstruct with the curb and gutter would be. We did have another item for the section of curb where we've been talking to Dan about the leaning wall.
Alder Holmquist is totally on there with it. I haven't really looped in the rest of the committee yet.
It's very difficult to do that section when it's leaning right up against, and my fear is that I don't want a contractor to overbid because of the wall, so we have all the curb replaced, I think all of it everywhere.
Yes.
Okay, all the curb replaced except for that section if we really want to go that route. So we really detailed this out, so you have the ability to pick and choose when we get to that alternate bids. And then we have VRAM, which is a newer product.
Can you have Nick explain the VRAM?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new to me, since the start of this project, but it's pretty interesting as far as the asphalt goes, and it'd be nice with a little summary explanation.
Go ahead.
So VRAM it stands for void reducing asphalt material. What it is, it's a polymer modified asphalt that goes between the two lifts of the pavement. It's centered on the longitudinal joint, which is the #1 problem area of all roads. And it stays pliable, so it'll auto seal as that surface starts to open up. So it's basically preventative maintenance. So you put this product, you sandwich it in between the pavement layers, and you don't have to crack seal over the top year after year after year. The product itself has been used around the country for over 35 years now. It's relatively new to Wisconsin. However, Illinois uses over 1 million linear feet of it a year. They require it in all state pavements. Missouri does as well. Minnesota's been using it for quite a few years. I researched it in the labs when I was at Iowa State. It outperforms how they market it. It's pretty economical. There's a contractor out of Illinois that applies it in Wisconsin. It's a lot cheaper than the maintenance of crack sealing that over the next 30 years.
That's mainly the center line, right? Where the
It's just the
seams
center
Yeah,
line.
So that's what it sort of looks
So
like.
this
It's like crack for a civil engineer.
Yeah, it's a
This is-
really nice product.
This is the
Sounds too
first
good
from
to be
Monona, I see.
true, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, and
You can.
the
pass this
Wisconsin
around if you
DOT
want.
is starting to play around with it. It's gonna become more and more popular. We're just ahead of that. We've used it, Bear Boost started to use it exclusively. We've gotten it applied on several different projects in Wisconsin. Paving contractors don't mind it. It's easy for them. Once they spray it down, it cools. You can drive over it. It'll leave a tire print, but it won't stick. When they pave over the top, as it gets hot, it'll start to seep and ooze and then seal those cracks. It seals all the little air voids in there. And most research says it'll extend the life of the pavement by 5 to 7 years.
So this is our first section in Monona that we're gonna give it a shot.
You know,
Will be for 21.
Yeah, all of our roads that we're resurfacing with that project will have it.
If you accept the alternate bid.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like 2,800 feet, I think.
Yeah,
that we're-
but we're finding that the bid prices are dropping because
Yeah.
people are using it, more people want to use it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been definitely a benefit. We had subdivision in Baraboo that we put the VRAM down and the contractor was none of our fault, but the whole road settled and all the trenches, because they never compacted anything and somebody else was doing the actual overseeing of the observation from the city. And when we got called to investigate what was going on, that's the first thing Nick said. He goes, look at that VRAM, it kept that right tight. He goes, it never moved.
Yeah, the road
So,
settled over a foot and the
Yeah.
center joint stayed closed. Sweet.
Wow,
Wow.
So it was a good test trial for
Yeah.
that product.
Yeah. everything else failed.
Everything else, everything that held together. Yeah.
A good problem there.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, all the images that I'm pulling up on the internet, they're basically just like the picture we saw on that cell phone. The road is going to have a strip of this material down the center of it.
Between the layers, between the base course and zero course.
That's what I thought. I thought at the
Yeah.
beginning when I was listening
Yeah.
to you, I thought, well, nobody will even know the difference.
No, they won't.
They won't. Okay, so
They
what I'm seeing is just the applying of it.
That's the.
And then a
application,
top layer
and then
goes
they pave
on.
over the top.
Okay.
Yep, Yep, exactly.
But it is only applied in the center because that's the part that cracks.
Yes.
Got it.
That
Like a
cracks
commercial
usually
cooker.
first.
Like it
Yeah.
was, like, yeah, you know, yeah,
Wherever your
right.
joint is, you get a
Yeah.
cold joint
yeah.
that seems to separate
Sure.
right there.
Any ideas why it wouldn't have been, I mean, when you said it was not yet, it hasn't been used in Wisconsin, my first thought was because of the cold winters. And then you listed Minnesota in one of your states. I'm like, what's going on?
Rule of thumb, when I researched, so most of our research was in Europe. Europe is first as far as asphalt materials. US is about 20 years behind Europe. Wisconsin is about 20 years behind the rest of the US.
Wow.
And a lot of it is DOT driven. A lot of the way they design asphalt pavements use equations from 1972.
Mhm.
So a lot of it's contractor familiarity, and if the DOT doesn't use it, paving contractors go, this is brand new, I've never seen it, it's scary, we finally got them to use it, and they were like, oh, this is it,
Mhm.
like this works really
This
well,
pretty
this
simple.
doesn't cause
So
us any.
Monona is gonna move the US closer to Europe.
Yes, one step at a time.
One
38
step at
years
a
behind,
time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh,
What's the price pretty different?
yeah, right.
Oh, what is it? About
Usually,
$5 a foot?
usually around $5 a foot, a linear foot.
Extra.
Yep,
But it's also money you save on the back end,
Absolutely.
right,
with pavement maintenance.
And
Yeah.
it extends the life
The
of the
life.
road by 5 years.
Yeah.
And during the entire life of the road, the estimated maintenance decreases.
correct. Cause normally you would crack seal that longitudinal joint and then you plow and it peels that sealer out and then you reapply it. So with this material, it's trapped between the layers,
Mhm.
so you'll never plow it out of the system, it's always gonna be there to keep that joint sealed. So even if the top opens a little bit, there's a barrier so it can't get all the way through the pavement to the base.
Right.
And that water goes into that crack and that's what
So you
starts
eliminate
over
alligator
time.
cracking.
That's the
Right.
first place you're gonna see it.
So interesting. Who would have thought?
I see
Yeah.
Monona on the cover of a trade journal for asphalt.
Yeah, so you
Right
guys,
behind Baraboo.
you'll be ahead of the rest of the state, like I said.
Well,
the
you said
deal-
Baraboo, though, is already doing that.
Baraboo is doing it, they were one of the first,
Yeah,
and we're trying to get it used more and more. Because when I met with Maffey and Farner, they said if we apply more of it in the state, they'll apply it themselves, we won't have to get contractor from Illinois to do it. And so then prices will come way down.
so we need to achieve a certain quantity.
Yeah.
Buy in bulk.
Yep, and that's kind of the goal of just getting more communities to do a trial run of it. And the more communities get on board, and as the DOT gets on board, prices will come down, everybody's maintenance will come down. But it's a proven product.
So it is a good idea to get on the cover of the magazine, like you said.
Right.
It is, the more advertising you do,
Right,
the
right.
more benefits ourselves.
Right,
Well, Jennifer just said that she wants to go on the radio with Nick and talk about this product,
I
so.
think I heard her say that too.
How long is that gonna air? Cause Nick could talk for days.
Yeah, probably.
We're always looking for content.
Yeah, they wouldn't mind that probably.
There's a lot of people out there that would love to listen to an hour of asphalt.
There's a lot of people who have no idea. This is way more interesting than you thought it would be, right?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Most interesting thing he's told me in the last month was how in Europe, they actually, the contractor, when they bid it, it's their roadway for 50 years,
The design life.
design life.
And when I left, we were doing asphalt pavement designs that lasted 100 years maintenance free. So
And that's not with a over exaggerated road like you used to hear about, you know, 3 feet of rock and
So
stuff
what
like
kind
that.
of temperatures are we talking about in the country, which countries in Europe, around the
Um,
Mediterranean or?
So when we did our test track, that was in Nantes, France, which is very similar to like Oregon.
Sure,
So they do get cold weather, they do get some freeze thaw. But they have a lot of what they call bio binders and biorejuvenators, high recycle content, no crude oil. They're safer, they're better for the contractors. And they way outperform anything that we have over here.
and we just can't get that over here?
We could, but people would have to make changes, and that means people at Federal Highway Administration and DOTs would have to do work. And that's
See, this is what happens when we.
That's
bring
what they're not
PhD to our meetings.
excited. So.
Thank you, I recorded.
Oh, that's fine, I'm sure they already know. Yeah.
Change is tough.
I mean,
Getting the initial change is the difficult part, because a lot of times you'll go to them, tell them, this is proven to work, and they'll say, let them try it for another 20 years and then maybe we'll get on board.
I mean, as a government worker myself, you know, you don't wanna be a first adopter. You know,
Right.
You're spending other people's money,
Right.
right?
And if it
So-
doesn't work, it's,
Yeah,
you got egg on your face.
Right. Yeah,
But,
that's really cool.
yeah.
What we do without our potholes though?
It wouldn't be Wisconsin.
Keeps me employed.
Job security. But this will also reduce potholes. I mean, I thought it would just reduce the Oreo, the cracking in the middle, which leads to potholes, I suppose.
Yes, yes. It's only gonna.
You're still gonna have some.
You're still
Yeah.
gonna have it, but you're gonna have less because in the first break is not gonna be there, which leads to other breaks, maybe, yeah.
Your first opening is in the cold joint.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, this first point of failure.
It will fail in other areas, and it
With
will,
time.
but,
But not as
yeah.
quickly, yeah, that's great.
I think I got all the alternate bids.
Yeah, the other three alternates are just replacing all the curb for each street.
Yeah, okay. We got that. As Dan said, the bid date is February 12th, so we might start advertising that first part of January. That'll be plenty of time for contractors. They may get the plans and probably not ask a question until the 4 days before it's due, but plenty of time. Questions I had were the bike paint markings. We still going with that? And then if we want to mix it, we can.
I believe the mayor might move the lake loop permanently to Winterford Road. So I would hold off on any bike markings for that area.
It's in there, we can delete it when it comes time.
Yeah.
And even if it is, and then they change it after we bid it, we just won't do it. And even if we bid it, we can still pull it out of the bid and award without it, so.
There were just too many complaints of the bikers blowing stop signs coming down the hills. With sightlines were impacted at 20 or the northern portion of the 20th Road at Winnequa Road. I think the preference at this point is to keep it on Winnequa Road through the
There's no
city.
point pulling up
Yeah.
to that 20 watt.
So
It doesn't mean bikers won't go to.
They can do whatever they want, but as far as the advertised road, I think the preference is to keep them on whatever road.
Right now, there's a couple of signs at the northern entrance to the northern Toniawatha that says scenic road.
Yep.
And, you know, so
But then
it's,
there's detour signs to keep them on
there,
whatever.
yeah, but these other signs, I think, are a property owner. I don't know who put those
Oh.
signs up. It says scenic road.
Huh,
Yeah,
It's on somebody's property.
but isn't that, that's on the north,
It's on the north entrance to the north section.
yeah, not the south,
Right.
not the
Okay.
north entrance to the south side.
okay, on
It's
the
like-
north leg of it.
Yeah.
Alright.
It's over by the north boat launch.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly.
We just gotta make sure they're out of the right of way because they're not city endorsed or.
They're not city signs, yeah.
No, it's someone pulling people off to go down by the boat launch by Dykstra's Judge's house,
Mhm.
up that way.
Other items, we talked about the retaining wall, we're working through that. I mean, the big issue there was we don't want a contractor that's gonna vibrate in the road, compacting it and watch the wall further fall over. I think over the years, it looks like it's, if you were actually stacking a wall, it might be 6 inches back and now it's probably 6 inches almost the other way.
So it's leaning over the curb head right now. I talked with Bill Cole and updated the mayor. We're gonna be sending a letter, most likely next week, asking them to make repairs to the wall prior to construction. Just because with the vibrations and the excavations, there is a general thought that the wall could collapse. And we don't want that to hold up the project. We don't wanna be held accountable. It's a completely a private retaining wall, newly installed in 2021.
It's near Wildwood.
Yeah, south of Wildwood.
South of Wildwood.
Yes.
You could, when you go by there, you can see it. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite visible.
And previous to the construction of the wall, there was no retaining wall there. They did it for landscaping
Yeah.
purposes. So,
That's a good call to give them a warning that the vibrations and everything. That's important.
yeah. So we're gonna give them a significant heads up to make their adjustments and, you know, probably mid-April, late April timeframe where we would start, do you think, or
Probably May, I'm
May? So
thinking.
they have more than enough time to,
It depends on the contractor and what they've got going on.
Yeah.
To us, it really doesn't matter, but you know, you gotta get the contract done, make sure that no line items, which there's a lot of, are all good. Make the recommendation, council approves it, comes back to us, we make sure the certificates are all good, bonding's good. Have the pre-con meeting, get some notices out to the public when they really wanna start, so they have some warning and then finally start, so. Sometimes that runs in the 2-month period of bids to pre-con meeting. So there'll be plenty of time.
Yeah.
But, alternates, I have all of that covered. The alternates are not part of the original fees, so. It's base bid when we estimated that, and the numbers that have been provided to, or will be provided for budgeting council, whatever, that's without the alternate. So it's basically, if we see some sort of big cost savings or, hey, this is a really good idea, it's a little bit more, but if we nix this and we get all new curb and that's only gonna be whatever 1,000 more, that's probably a better idea, because we're gonna have a lot of piecemeal going through this. We did add 4 inlets up by the park, or north of the park.
that's what the mayor was asking about.
Yeah, that's that Arrowhead Park.
Yeah.
That weird triangle with settling water.
It's a bowl,
Yeah.
and there's a couple inlets there. There's probably gonna, I think, 4 inlets that we're gonna have there. But then, as the water runs from the high end all the way down to the park, it's probably 1,000 feet, I'm thinking. Normally, you would have inlets maybe every 400 feet. So if you got a bowl there, you got 4 inlets. If you go up and you're carrying 600 feet, we added 4 inlets. Just try, so the water doesn't come down to that area and then it actually flows back and then out to the lake. We're actually tying those inlets into that first manhole so that the storm sewer is sized correctly. It's just not sized for a 100-year event. And there's nowhere for the water to run over the curb line until it actually takes time to get it out. So, you know, if you're gonna do something more, that would be a project that you probably wanna double or increase the size, but there's not a lot of grade on that pipe, it flows slow. And we've done the vortex units, I don't know if that's an area where the county might help with something like that, but that portion of the road is strictly an asphalt job, and we didn't wanna get into easements and everything else until we're ready.
That's like a pretty tough.
And, you know, the majority of our pipe in the city does not account for the 100-year flood. I mean, it's not designed for that. So,
No, you would have huge pipe.
Yeah.
It'd be too expensive. We'd be doing a storm sewer project and then 10 years down doing the road. So,
I have a question. I probably should have asked this a long time ago, but how many projects I'm just scanning everything in the documents I received and I'm not seeing a list of each project that MSA will be involved in. Am I missing that somewhere?
MSA has our Lagoon to Nord Bridge project.
But as far as our conversation goes tonight, we've talked
Like what
about
roads are
VRAM. Where's
what
that gonna
roads?
happen?
You mean what roads are being included?
Yeah, what are we talking, yeah, can I just,
It's Tony Awatha from
Right.
Baskerville to Wildhaven as far as water main replacement. Vote Lane, we're adding water main where water main is not right now. And then the other half is replacing cast iron. I believe Arrowhead has cast iron, one section that we're replacing. And then from Wildhaven north to Winnacle Road is full depth asphalt removal and replacement.
so these are, as you said, Dan, the items that were at the council meeting agenda on the capital.
Yeah,
Budget.
that capital request sheet has all this detail in it, so
Okay.
you pull that out.
Perfect.
Everything.
Perfect. Sometimes I think it's just difficult if people are listening on the recording and they don't know that they need to go back to the capital budget to,
Yeah.
I mean, I know it would be repetitive to have it in the packet, but it might be just a courtesy.
That's the,
Yep, thank you.
so like I said, each section of that road is broken out into bid items, so special assessment and it's on this block, all that's blacked out from the rest of the whole project, and each project is blacked out in case for whatever reason we need to make changes, cut things, budget. We can easily say, here's exactly what it would cost to do this section or this section. So it's long, but it's the best way to manage it.
So when you calculate the assessments, then are you calculating on the whole project or are you calculating based on those blocks?
Their assessments based on the costs for their block.
Yeah, because to try and you got different things going on, you got assessment with curb, then you got spot improvement with curb and water, and then you've got asphalt, and it's not really fair because your mobilizations are different depending, you know, an asphalt guy comes in, it's not asphalt, curb and water main, so all of that sort of changes. But it's really what's going on your block.
And this is 60-40 split.
60% resident costs, 40% city. So, but the assessments, you know, the ratios have always been the same, but the cost of construction has gone up over the years, so. Because the section of Arrowhead doesn't have curb and gutter, you receive assessments only one time when you convert the street to a curb and gutter street. Had this happened decades ago, they, you know, like their neighbors, they would have paid a far cheaper price, but back then, I'm sure the cost equivalent would probably still be the same. But right now, I think it was $124.58 a foot.
It went up.
To,
Yeah, you have to talk about that spreadsheet because that's a header in there. It doesn't read up, so what you change, we can talk about that later. It's probably more like 140 or 150 or something like that.
okay, 144,
But it sounds about right.
you have to deduct the 50% on the large corner lots and then
Yeah,
the
we did.
balances out.
Yeah. you made that one change to 50%, and that's what we can talk about later.
Well, I did get confirmation from Bill, so that does keep it at 124 or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you wanna send that back to me then I'll have however you change that, so when we get our true prices, we can put that all in there. Going with Cretex rings unsanitary. That's sort of a new product.
Yep.
Okay, not new to us, but
New to us.
new to Nona.
And we're forward thinking here.
Make it last longer, make it easier.
Another magazine cover.
Valve boxes, there are, the roadway, the road right of way is very narrow. It's only 50 feet, a lot of the areas. Trying to put a water main in and trying to get the valve boxes to where we would normally put them on the right of way is extremely costly challenge. So where the valve boxes are now, we are putting them back in the roadway and connecting there rather than tearing up all kinds of landscape, brick pavers, you name it, they're there, tearing down trees. We don't want to try and do anything like that. So we were looking into like a cover for those actual valve boxes. And they have covers that are really expensive. So I just want to explain like a cover for survey monument you see in the road, there's no adjustment to it. It is what it is. So if the road adjusts or whatever, you can't adjust that particular model, and those are expensive. So then we looked at a small manhole type structure where you could pop the lid and then do the adjustments on the water. Those are, what'd you say, $1,000? Because it's a
A
non-standard.
couple of years ago, they were over $1,000, yeah.
So that's expensive. So what we were thinking was having like a valve stem, like your regular valve stem, and not going all the way down to the bottom, but then going down below the frost line, 2 pieces of it, and then having a footing around your actual stem of your water shut off. That's probably, everybody's like, what? I don't know what that is, but it's like you see in your roadway where your big valves are. We're thinking of putting that on top of those so that those don't get busted off. So when if you need to shut somebody's water off, you can pop it off, and then the
Make it
actual
down to
shut
the
off,
actual
then you go
shut.
straight down, but then it can be adjusted during paving. So it'd be sort of like a concrete footer underneath this second section, and then the first section you could screw up and down for the level. So it's really no different than a valve box in your roadway for a big valve, other than it doesn't go all the way down to the valve. But I think.
So if I get that right, it's the valve box today on private property, meaning in a driveway or in a yard,
Curb
is
stop.
gonna be a curb stop.
Yeah.
Does that stay or go?
Whatever is there
Stays.
If it's, you got some, like the retaining wall or anything, if that curb stop is back behind there.
Yeah,
We
right.
don't wanna spend $500,000 ripping
Sure,
out the wall and replacing it, cause we know we're not gonna get it exactly right. And it's like, just leave it there, but we're gonna put
I
the
see.
valve or the curb stop closer to the curb line,
Okay,
but you don't want traffic beating on that. Cause
Right,
that
right.
stem actually goes up and down. You can take a hammer.
Yeah.
And tap it up and down, so.
I see. Okay. I thought that earlier in the project, we were saying we're gonna have to go into people's curb stop in their driveway or in their yard.
Some are.
Oh, some are.
Some are, but the ones that are really difficult to get to, where they're
I
out,
see.
I think it's, as you're going north from, I can't think of the first road.
Outland or Baskerville?
Baskerville, that first section of road as you go north on the
Right,
right-hand side, a lot of those are actually out in the roadway or right near that. And we're gonna tie into that, rather than going and tearing up big trees and all their landscape, because there's landscaping all over. And you probably end up paying more for the landscape than we're gonna pay for the road,
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
so. Other little areas, landscaping, stuff like that, we have items for that to replace it. If you got some mulch, we're not replacing any plants or anything like that. That's probably something to get out to the neighbors for springtime, that if they have our special plant that's been there forever and we're gonna be digging around that curb stop, they probably wanna take it out prior to, but we are not gonna take it out.
We do send letters for that, we give them ample notice to save anything they want in the right of way. But you have to identify the properties for us.
We can do that. So I don't know if that's the valve box idea is something you are okay with, or?
Probably run that by the crew.
Okay, so we were gonna call it, what were we talking about yesterday? If they had an actual adjustment, an adjustable cap of some sort that would be drivable, other than the actual disc that's there.
Or if they have a different stamped cover. And Tyler Union, sometimes they'll have different, like they'll do a custom lid to say instead of water, it could say service or something, just to differentiate whether it's a main valve or a service curb stop. We'll check into what the cost of that is. But most of the in roadway covers aren't adjustable, and most of them are, if they are adjustable, they're expensive, really expensive, more so than just a Tyler Union, you know, a mid section and a top, which are readily available, and paving crews are used to paving around them. We don't wanna put the curb stop in and then have the paving crew either bury them in pavement or snap them off.
Yeah.
That would not be ideal. So,
And we thought about even concrete around it, but that's gonna change and fluctuate with metal and concrete and asphalt. And
We have all these different heights.
I think your best bet is the water, the regular water valve, and so it's adjustable, and the asphalt guys know how to pave around that, stuff like that, but. We covered the assessments, we've got those, and the bid date, we have February 12th. And what we have to do to finish is get our DNR water permit and our NOI and finish the specs. We started the specs in 2022, I think. So there is a more current version of the spec that we have. It would cost you more money if you wanted to go to that version. I don't think you really have to. The majority of it is done already. I'd like to continue with the old spec that we have been using for the last 15 years. And I think it's fine.
That's quite a no reason.
But I just wanted to bring it up in case anybody said, well, this is not the current EJCDC. No, it isn't.
Yep.
But
No, you had your own special provisions to it anyway, so we're still covered.
Good for now.
other than that, that's all I had. That's 3 years of working.
Yeah, that's been just
4 years.
dangling out there forever.
So for the November 5th public information meeting, are you coming with poster boards and stuff like that for displays?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Whatever you want.
It'd be nice to give the residents a good visual.
Yeah, we'll do the overview, so we can, here's what's going on, just like we did the public meeting.
Yeah.
I still have my box from 3 years ago or 2 years ago, whenever that was, with everybody's name in it.
Perfect.
Similar.
All right,
You
well,
will be there.
the first public information meeting we had for it.
How does that assessment work? Does it show up on the property tax bill then for that year, or is it a separate charge?
Yeah, it's on the tax bill. I think it's 1% charge added to it.
Like interest.
Yeah, for interest. And all that's explained in the letter that they're gonna receive, and then the report that is made for city council. But I think they get 8 years to pay it.
But we carry over for quite a while at a very low percentage.
Yeah.
So that way they're not getting a huge hit.
You don't get hit on.
Yeah.
And can you explain a little bit more about that 60-40 split? How does that work? When does it happen? Why are some projects part of it and not others?
The city's ordinance states that if a street already has curb and gutter, there is no more future assessments for any reconstruction. The very first time a street is reconstructed with curb and gutter, they will receive assessments for the curb gutter, the roadbed, asphalt, up to 20% of engineering costs. There's one or two other items related to the road construction. That's all they can be assessed for.
And the city pays 60 or 40?
The city pays 40%.
Okay,
And the resident pays 60%,
got it.
and that's by ordinance.
I know that, so I live on McKenna and on the north of Greenway, the sidewalk went in a couple years ago. And I think there's an assumption among some of the residents that they paid for the sidewalk.
They did.
But in reality, they paid for the curb and gutter.
Cause that didn't have curb and gutter.
Correct, and yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And the
it's-
city, in the ordinance, the city pays 100% of sidewalk installation.
Yes, right,
Which is unique.
Yeah,
Usually that's assessed.
that's nice, yeah.
Thanks for the update.
No problem. Any other questions, let Dan know, and if you have any questions, if you were at the first meeting, if it's
I'll let you know.
different,
Yeah.
let us know.
Awesome.
My
Thank
notes
you
side
guys
by
for
side.
coming. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Six B, and this is discussion and consideration of ordinance establishing a parking restriction at various locations on West Broadway Service Road. And you want to give a overview, understanding of this one's very straightforward.
This one is related to the base of development that's taking place in the old Monona Gardens restaurant, right there on Broadway at South Bridge Road. The east-west portion of that is the Broadway Service Road. So I provided a map in the packet, and I have a bold red line of the areas that we're asking to sign no parking. The development already has street parking accounted for. That was taken care of through the developers agreement process and the plan commission. The cul-de-sac at the west end, we need open for the large truck turnaround, delivery truck turnaround. You have one city school traffic coming through there, so that was never in consideration for the development's street parking use. The center bold marking, that's mainly for sightline and intersection, no parking. They have the driveway right there. And then on the southern portion, towards the east, that whole stretch there, that one is driven by Monona PD. And then also, we have a daycare right there, so they want to keep unwanted traffic from parking in that area. It's dark at night. There's one street light right there at the T intersection, and the second one is at the cul-de-sac by One City School. They ran into some issues with contractor parking there during construction, and it's caused a lot of conflict with the businesses there. I did send letters to each of the businesses asking if they have any concerns, and we haven't heard anything back from them. And then we also have areas identified at that daycare that's already signed no parking, so. So that comes before you, seeking your recommendation or not, to city council to have this no parking request proceed.
And that we're seeing in the packet, it's at this intersection, we've got, I mean, this is the intersection where we've got the new development, right? I mean, this is an old map of the old restaurant, right?
Right.
With that new development, does that at all change considerations about parking?
No, they're, do you have the map?
I do, I'm
this
looking at it, yeah.
Their agreed upon parking is, so in the
Oh,
packet,
I'm
you have
looking
this sheet
at, I'm
here.
looking at the first page, not the
Oh, yeah.
second, I'm sorry, now, yes, I see it now. Yeah.
So their authorized street parking is already accounted for.
Got it,
These
yeah,
no
yeah.
parking zones should not impact that.
Yeah.
I would make a motion to approve recommendation of this to the city council.
So a second. Second. All right, any other discussion or questions? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Item 6C is discussion, and consideration for an ordinance requiring a four-way stop control intersection at Midmore and Panther intersection.
Okay, this one was driven by a resident complaint to the city asking for city staff and committee members and council members to consider converting this to a four-way stop controlled intersection. It was just a few years ago at this committee where I think it was Chad Spade when he was serving on the committee, made a recommendation that we pavement mark a dash line through the intersection. So if you drive through there today, that dash line that you see is at his recommendation and the committee endorsed it. And the reason being was to keep traffic in their proper lane. Prior to that pavement marking, people were shortcutting the intersection and in essence, almost cutting other head-on traffic off. We've, to my knowledge, this group has never entertained a four-way stop at this location. It is endorsed by Monona PD and the fire department as well. MUTCD backs it as far as the guidance goes because it's an offset intersection. Traffic on Panther, when they look south, seems to have, at least the eastbound Panther has no problem seeing south, but westbound Panther has a hard time seeing south because it's offset. Looking north, it's a challenge. Eastbound and westbound is a challenge right now. So making it a four-way stop controlled intersection makes it safer because all approaches have to stop and there's no guessing as to whether if you can see traffic or not before you proceed. So we do have guidance that supports it with MUTCD. We do have Monona PD and fire supporting it due to for safety concerns. I support it as well. So it's here before you to discuss and entertain.
On Midmore here, are you coming downhill both ways into that intersection too? Does it come?
On Panther, you're coming downhill.
Both ways.
Oh, I'm looking
From the
got
west,
it,
you come
okay.
in.
From
Both ways on Panther,
Both ways,
slightly, yeah,
Yeah.
there's a bigger hill on the west, but yeah.
It's a hill if
yeah.
you bike right out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Done it a few times.
Just saying, yeah.
no, you're right.
Especially if you got young kids. All right, is there a motion?
I move approval.
Second. Any further discussion?
Just a quick note, when you put a brand new four-way stop, is there a procedure for doing it to notify people with lights or flags or something? Because this is gonna be brand new.
Yeah, what we do, we've, in my time here, we've added all-way controlled stops to Nichols and Winnequa Road. At Frostwoods and Bridge, we've done that, and what we do is we double orange flag
Okay,
the intersection. In this case, we will probably provide advance notice on Midmore, north and south. New stop sign ahead, something to that effect, that pre-warns motorists that it's now a four-way stop.
Yeah.
So,
that seems to be important. Whenever you put a brand new one,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you have the potential of somebody just blowing through there.
Right.
Yeah.
Catch people off guard for a while.
we do have those warning signs. It's the yellow backed sign with the red stop sign in the middle. Those are like, it's a warning sign for stop sign ahead. We do have those in inventory. We can set those out on barricades. And then at the intersection, we'll have flags.
Okay, makes
On
sense.
all sides.
So with that, you kind of were reading my mind. I was wondering if there was any notification that would be needed to the neighborhood, but I don't know,
Well,
what is
it's-
the normal?
I don't think it's the local neighborhood that you have to worry about. They will see it. It's the people passing through, and that's where the advanced warning signs and the flags.
Exactly, yeah.
We'll have something on the front page of the website. I think we have well over 1,000 people signed up to receive notices, and we'll send a blast out, and we'll have, a news article on the front page, new four-way stop, explaining where it is.
it would be well received by the neighborhood.
I do
Yeah.
too.
I'm
thrilled.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good, me too. Yeah.
Drive back tonight.
Drive it on Panther instead of Midmore.
Yep, I've done both.
All right, and we have a motion in a second, but all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, all right, that's passed. For the operations report, any questions that people have or anything you want to highlight?
You know, nothing, no additions, but if you haven't been by the Kelly Place Storm project yet, they're about halfway done installing the chambers. It's pretty cool. They come in two pieces, and it is really, in essence, a puzzle being fit together, and the wrap that it sits on and that will wrap the structure, you have to be right on, you can't drift, because the wrap does have to cover it and then be sealed. But it's quite impressive. This is a showcase project for Monona. Pretty cool. And so far, knock on wood, to my knowledge, we haven't received any complaints from the public. It's well signed. The signs are resting right now, but when they need to put them up, you know, the traffic patterns are working. You know, people are stopping by to check it out, but they're being respectful of the construction zone, but it's going quite well right now, so. Otherwise, that's all I really have to add to that operations report.
What sort of information has been put out to the public about that project? I know I received a couple just inquiries from people I know, like, Teresa, what's going on down there, you know?
Well, the Speedway is doing drone video. I'm not sure if the first video has made its way to the public yet.
Yeah.
We do have a project page on the website.
Yeah.
So that's mainly how residents get updated on projects, is by looking at the project page.
Okay.
We don't have the staff to, you know, do project videos like DeForest has been doing.
Yeah.
I think DOT was doing a few of them where they're on site doing YouTube videos and posting them. I mean, that's nice and all, but we just don't have the people to do that. But it's mainly the project page on the website.
I only ask because like community media is one of my committees, so I'm always thinking about like the newsletter and the Facebook page and the VMO and stuff like that, so. But there just seems like a really good opportunity to brag a little bit, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
You said it's a showcase project,
Yeah.
you know?
And I think the annual Clean Lakes Alliance breakfast that they have this year was a different format, but I believe like every other year, they're gonna highlight showcase stormwater projects. And I believe this one is already on their list, so Jeremy Blusid, from what I understand, has been keeping tabs on it, so.
Can we do a contest on how many tennis balls are trapped in there
Yeah.
yearly?
God, you'd hate to see what's all trapped in there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it gets pretty interesting what you pull out of those storm chambers.
How often do we have to pump them out?
I believe the full clean out on this one is every 7 to 10 years. But there's pre-chambers that initially we'll be checking probably 2 to 3 times a year to get an idea how quickly they fill up. Same thing that we're doing at Stonebridge, but the overall cleaning is about a 7 to 10 year time frame.
And those are vacuumed out?
We do the pathway through the meandering path. It has the ability to hold our large vac truck. So we'll be able to pull up to the clean out ports and suction out the settling areas of it. But when it comes time to do the full cleaning, that's when you push all the stuff to the pits. So it is operator friendly when it needs to be.
How do you push it? Yes.
Although they'll get equipment down there and kind of like,
In it?
yeah. Oh, yeah, it's a confined space, but they'll have the right kind of equipment to like push the material towards the pits that you clean it from.
That would be fun.
That's a job.
Yeah.
That'll be a contracted out.
That's a Mike Rose
Sure.
dirty job.
Yeah,
So at Kelly Place, we took a house, right?
no, we didn't.
No,
No,
That's a private,
someone else is taking it.
yes,
Okay.
someone's tearing down the building at the same time.
Oh, okay.
But allowed some storage to happen on their site.
Yep,
Okay, I thought we took the house.
no,
So, but it'll just be green space again, once again. I mean, that was,
With the path.
it's gonna actually look
Kind of
pretty
a park.
nice. Yeah, it's gonna look like a mini park, and we are putting up the split rail fence to help identify the limits of the city property and private property. We'll have plantings, the proper plantings, so we don't impact the sanitary sewer that's there. We'll have information boards as part of
On
the
both
requirement for the
sides.
grant. Yep. Decorative bollards that are planned. So it'll look like a nice wandering path, but it's gonna be kept up. It's not gonna be a parcel that, once we're done and out of there, it's not gonna look like a overgrown wildflower, wild grass area. It's gonna be mowed by our crew, weed whipped by our crew. It's gonna be maintained, so.
A little snapshot of it is on the project page.
let's take a look at it. This one snuck up on me. I wasn't paying attention for this one. I think we talked about it before I left the council, but I don't know. if I
Oh, and we
actually-
were probably first starting when you left the council.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Next meeting's November 5th, which will happen because we're gonna have the public hearing.
Mhm.
Some people that haven't been to one of those before, there's nothing you need to be prepared for. MSA will be presenting the information, so any of the questions about the project, don't feel like you have to be prepared to answer those. MSA will answer it or Dan will answer it. So there won't be any information that.
Yeah.
You'll have to study up.
What we need
That's what
you
I'm saying.
for though is to.
Yeah.
We do need a quorum because it's an official meeting, so there's no action, it's just a motion to, start the meeting and then end the meeting. There's no decisions to be made. If anything, you will get to hear concerns from the public. MSA is our engineer. This is part of their contract to come in and host these public information meetings. My job is to fill in the blanks with city ordinances and city policy, blame things on city council, and just answer questions.
I'll be remote. Do you think some of the people attending the 14 or so, that you think they'll be remote too, or do you think they'll all be in the community?
Most will show up if they're paying attention, they're gonna show up because they wanna see it.
Yeah, this is at the community center, and I'm not sure if they're set up for, I can take my laptop and you can be remote.
Well, it depends on whether you need a quorum. I'd love to hear it, but I'm out of town. So if it's available, I'll do it. If not,
I'll bring my laptop and do the Zoom from my laptop, but I'm not gonna be putting people on the
I
big
see.
screen and
Okay,
stuff
yeah.
because they're not set up for it.
Okay.
We host it there because the room is big and you never know what kind of crowd's gonna turn out.
right.
We've had public information meetings on big projects where we've had like 3 people turn out. It's shocking how big a project can be and no one really has an interest in it.
Well, this room had 20 people in it for.
Oh, more than
number
20.
four.
That was the most packed event I've ever seen this room.
it was more packed when we had the meeting about the house at St. Damiano. It was kind of
Oh,
in the
really?
hallway. It was a little intense. But
So, for those who may have been in the room recently, I think there might be a question in the public about, and for those who might be watching this video, my question is, what sorts of public works projects trigger a public information meeting?
Ones that we did out. I mean,
But you're.
okay,
I
I've
want- I
answered
want-
this question
yeah.
several times before.
Yeah,
The Kelly Place Storm Project, we did not have a public information meeting because the project is completely and solely on city property.
yes,
A road reconstruction project where we go up and down a street in front of people's front yards. Those we hold public information meetings for because it impacts residences
And traffic flow,
and
yeah,
traffic, yeah,
And maybe access,
and access, right,
access, yeah.
right,
like they might have temporary
right,
inability to get in and out of their driveway.
yeah,
right.
yeah,
So that we would, like South Winnicott, we had many public information meetings for that project.
yeah,
McKenna, we had 2, Toniawatha North, we had 2. But that's typically the driver, if it impacts
Okay.
Access in front yards and curb line of residences,
Yeah.
then we have.
but if the work is being done on city property, if the work does not affect traffic flow.
Yeah.
There's no public information
Yeah.
meeting,
But we will notify, once the bid is approved, we will notify property owners within like a 500-foot radius of our parcel. Just to alert them, hey, you're gonna see trucks, you're gonna see delivery vehicles, things like that.
You notified them of the no parking for the Kelly place, right? Or that's, you had said that before
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
they were
Yeah.
well
yeah,
aware of.
once we had the map figured out, that was
Yeah.
notified, yeah, we notified for that,
yeah.
so.
I appreciate you saying it again, I know you've said it before, but just sometimes people aren't listening.
Yeah, that's true.
Each time, it's
Yeah.
like, they might catch
Yeah.
it the 4th time, yeah, but just.
Yep.
Yeah,
Will the road reconstruction be the only thing on the next meeting?
Yeah, I don't have anything else for the agenda. I'm gonna try and keep it that way. If there's any actionable items, we'll try and bump it to December. As of right now, there's nothing out there for November or December. I have to double check if that preliminary assessment report has to come through Public Works. I'm not sure if,
I can't remember.
I know it does have to go through council, but I don't. If it does, it would be on, we'd have a December meeting, but I think it's strictly a city council thing, yeah.
what was that?
For McKenna,
I don't think we
if
do it
if
for
we
McKenna.
did
The
that.
sidewalks?
If we had to have a preliminary assessment meeting at this meeting.
At this meeting,
Oh,
yeah,
cause I know there were public information sessions, yeah,
Yes, we're talking
got
about
it,
the assessment. part.
got it, I
Yeah.
see,
So plan on November 5th. If we have things that really do need action, we'll strategize where to put it on the agenda and make it make sense, but
Yeah.
we'll go from there.
Move adjournment.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting has adjourned.
Thanks.
It's gonna get colder.
Yeah.